Welcome to the official podcast of FOR ETERNIA.com. We have the power. I'm your host, AJ, aka Voodoo Magic, aka Zor. And today's episode is titled A Year in Review, because yet another year is coming to a close. And as we say goodbye to 2024, it gives us an opportunity to look back and reflect on everything that happened in Masters of the Universe. Basically over the past 12 months, and it gives us a chance to talk about what we loved, what we not so loved, especially about the bread and butter of this awesome franchise, the figures. And who better to also host and give their opinions? And remember, this is just two people's opinions. Not everyone will agree, and that's okay. But a master himself, a master toy collector, an amazing master toy photographer, an equally amazing content creator, and one of the most knowledgeable, passionate Motu fans there is. Yes, he's the best around, and nothing's ever going to get him down. Ted Biaselli.
That is one hell of an intro. I'm going to have that transcribed, and anytime I need an intro for anything, that's what it's going to be. Like, even if it's in a corporate setting, whatever it is, that's my intro. That's it. It was so good.
I appreciate it. I'm not good at much in life, but I think I'm pretty good at intros.
That was good. That was really, you should write intros.
Oh, and by the way, that trailer for Masters of the Universe Revolution was brilliant. And it actually debuted this year, so it fits. And
it kicked off 24. Yeah. I can't believe Revolution dropped January of 24, so we're coming up on a year already.
And I didn't even think that you could the Bonnie Tyler Holding Out for a Hero Masters of the Universe Revelation teaser trailer. I didn't think that could be topped. And then you came out with the, You're the Best song by...
Well, okay, so there's a funny story about that whole teaser trailer. I don't know if I talked about this or not. But okay, so we all knew that we had to top the Bonnie Tyler thing, right? Yeah. That was kind of and I think we, the original, and this gets so many layers of sort of critique on the Revelation stuff. That original teaser, the Holding Out for a Hero, that was all done because the marketing team was like, He-Man hasn't been in the culture for a while. It's been 24 years. We should probably make sure that, we're delivering on all that, because the 2000X show was early 2000s, like 2002, 3. So we were like, maybe we should, do something that sort of reignites what Masters of the Universe is. And that was kind of, and we talked about the song for that. There was a couple different songs that came in, and I don't remember what they were. But then I was the one that suggested Holding Out for a Hero, because when I was a kid, I used to have battles on my floor, and I had the Footloose soundtrack, and I would play that. That was my soundtrack to my toy playing.
When Kevin Bacon was on the tractor with the shoelace.
That's exactly right. So that song has a real connection for Motu for me, ironically enough, but it did. And we all agree that was the right one. So then when we were coming into this one, obviously, there's a risk that it all feels contrived, right? It's like, okay, well, we gotta go back to the well. And we had so many conversations about it, and it was me and Rob and Kevin and the Netflix marketing team and Tim Sheridan, and we all had Spotify playlists that we were sharing and dropping songs into, and everybody had all the kind of oh, but this song is amazing and this song is great, and we actually cleared a couple of them and to make sure that we could use the rights to them. And one of them that got really, really, really close was Princess of the Universe from Queen, and it got and it was real because it has that great, that was Kevin's call. And it was big, epic, sweeping scope, because we wanted something like Flash. And Kevin was like, what about Princess of the Universe? And I feel horrible, but I didn't know it. And as soon as he played it, I was like, oh my God, this is great, because it was a story about Keldor. It was also a prince. It was about Adam, who's now becoming a king. It was like, okay, this actually has thematic overlay to it. It's got this driving hook. It was really, really good. It had that kind of, you know, Kevin loves to say it's metal, and it had that little bit of that metal edge to it. We were like really into it. And I was having dinner with the Cobra Kai team, because I was the exec that brought Cobra Kai to Netflix too. And we were talking about how they hadn't used You're the Best Around in any of the seasons yet. And they said, well, we're saving it. You know, we know when we're going to use it. It's, you know, it's special for us. And they're all fans of Revelation and Revolution. All those guys, the Cobra Kai guys, that first of all, they're the coolest team in the world. The three producers, Hayden and John and Hayden, John, and Josh. I always like, they're all three of them together, and they're like, you know, you have to look at them, you have to point them out together. So Hayden, John, and Josh are all like the creators of Cobra Kai, and they all write and direct the show. But they're all us, right? They're all children of the 80s, and they're big Motu fans, and they're really, really cool. And they loved Revelation and Revolution. And then when we were talking about it at dinner, I said, would you guys be cool if we used You're the Best in a Motu teaser? And they were like, no, we think it'd be awesome. So I kind of wanted their blessing. I was like, I don't want to steal their thunder from what they wanted to do with it in Cobra Kai. So I wanted to make sure that we were all doing right. And they actually loved the idea, and we sent it to them early, and was just like, you guys cool with this? So it's kind of cool that I was both on Motu and Cobra Kai, so was able to, you know, have the conversation.
Yeah. It was so good. I didn't mean to start with that, but
that's what started 24.
Actually, what I'm drinking here, right? That's a topic of conversation too, because 2024 marks the first year we got Masters of the Universe themed coffee. You know,
are you drinking Skeletor blood? Is that what you're drinking?
No, I'm drinking what is it? Eyes of the Orco.
Eyes of Orco?
Yeah. And be honest with you, I wish I had more of that Skeletor blood, because that's, no offense to Orco, but I thought the Skeletor blood coffee was
I only bought one bag of each, and I'm like, man, I should have bought another bag.
Yeah, because the other one, I don't know, Orco kind of tastes good, but it's kind of more plain coffee, where
it's a mild blend.
Yeah.
It's a mild blend.
But Skeletor had hints of dark chocolate and tangerine, and you know, it was subtle, but
this is the gentleman that knows his roasts.
I'm honored you called me gentleman.
You are a fine gentleman of coffee taste.
Very fine and refined. I don't drink my wine out of a bag, I swear. So let's get into this year. And let's start with action figures, right? Because that really is the bread and butter of Masters of the Universe. Now, Teddy, if I did my math right, in 2024, in regards to what was actually released, not just announced and put on pre-order, but actually released this year, I calculated the numbers. We have 20 Masterverse figures this year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. 18 Origins Vintage vehicles and play sets and figures.
That's classic Origins, not cartoon collection.
Right. And then 16 Origins cartoon collection figures and vehicles. And then 19 Turtles of Grayskull figures. And then 4 Mondos. So let's start with Masterverse figures that were released in 2024. And the first one they got into collectors' hands. And if you got nothing to say, we got nothing to say. We'll just keep going through the list. Let's start with Revolution Battle Armor He-Man.
I'm glad that we got him. Honestly, it was one of the earliest things we talked about from even ending Revelation was like, okay, well, if we do another season, we got to include, he's got to wear his battle armor. So the fact that we were not only able to kind of get a do-over on the first wave of the the Revelation stuff, because I think we all know that first wave of figures, with the exception of maybe Evelyn and Mossman, like those first couple waves were rough. I had so many notes on Skeletor and He-Man. I was like, guys, these are off model. These do not look good. What is He-Man? Why does he have jaundice? Like, what is that tiny little Skeletor head? What the hell is going on? I was so grumpy about all of it, but I mean, look, it's hindsight now, so we can be a little more honest. But when it first came out, I'm like, it's like, look, we've got Revelations on. But man, I was like, that He-Man, and it's sad because those are the anchors. They're He-Man and Skeletor. Those are the anchors.
I am 100% in line with you with Skeletor, but I am totally against the grain. I am in the minority when it came to He-Man. I loved He-Man. I still got him up there on his Battle Cat. For some reason,
I love your dedication, my man.
I
hate that figure, that schmucky face he's got going on. There's that guy Ombre X who does or Hordak MX online. He used to be Ombre MX. He did like the most beautiful He-Man head, and it was so perfect, and I was like, how come Mattel can't do this? Like both his He-Man and his Skeletor were so fantastic.
Oh yeah. No, I saw his heads. Oh, he did some like early Duncans too, I think.
Yeah, his Duncans were fantastic. Like, I mean, come on. That is on model.
Yeah.
Look at how good that is. That is so perfect. And then his Skeletor looks so good. Look at this. Look at that. That is right out of the cartoon. Like, it looks so good.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I still wasn't thrilled with the Revolution Battle Armor He-Man because I felt like his chin was
something
Jay Leno.
Something happened with that model or in the molding process, because I saw the prototype and the prototype was perfect. Prototype was absolutely perfect. So I don't know what happened in the modeling process of it, but yeah, it did get a little bit of a push out in that thing. But there's another YouTuber, Fanboys Forever, did this thing where they like heated it up and like kind of just like repositioned, like pushed it up a little bit and then dropped it in cold water. It actually worked. I did it for mine too, and it actually looks a little bit better.
Oh, I did that for it's going to be coming up. It's the Skeletor and Bone Throne, but we'll get there. Okay. So, but yeah, I loved seeing the battle armor, especially in the cartoon. Okay, new Eternia neck and neck. Where his neck could go on forever, man.
Classics is kind of like the ultimate Masters toy line, right? For me, it's kind of perfect. It's somebody in another group said, if you could get rid of every toy line except one, what was the one toy line you would keep? And I'd said Masters of the Universe Classics. It's the toy line that sort of like grabbed the childhood and just made it into plastic. And there are a couple of figures that always bummed me out that didn't quite live up to their sort of expectations in classics. Rio Blast, Mechanic, a couple others, but like Snout Spout, who we'll talk about in a bit. And I think that Masterverse is doing incredible work at improving on classics, and Mechanic is one of them.
Yeah, I agree. Classics is the ultimate standard, but you're right. There are some Masterverse figures that exceeded classics, and they're like the best representation in plastic, and which is so exciting. Most of them are new Eternia,
It's true. I mean, the new Eternia thing kind of hit me from a little bit of left side, because when Mattel told me that they were doing this thing called New Eternia and there was going to be comics and the thing, I was like, okay, what is this? Is this the new direction for the thing? Because some of it had story points, like Jitsu is a good guy, and like I was like, wait, what is going on? But the idea that that the designs were just so awesome looking and so like really cool, and pulling in some inspiration from some of the original design work from Ted Mayer and Roger Sweet and all these guys. It was like, oh man, look at they're pulling in, like, look at the stuff they pulled in for Too Bad, the belt and the thing, the weapons. It's like, oh yeah, this is really special. So they've exceeded a lot of my expectations.
Yeah, me too. Next one was new Eternia Triclops.
Also pulled in a lot of stuff from the mini comics. We got that sash, all that beautiful brocade detailing in the torso. It's so good.
I saw it like here he comes, Mr. America. I didn't like him too much with the sash, but I love the history, right? Yeah.
But the good news is that's the good news about the new Eternia stuff is you can take it off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take it off. And like you can make a pretty classic looking version of the character, and then you can add all the little embellishments. The one that I do have a gripe about we'll talk about a little later is Fisto.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll be interested in. Yeah, we'll get there. Next one on the list, Revolution, King Keldor.
Oh man, can I just tell you, we tried so hard to keep that a secret. Because you were the one who was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Ugh."
In October.
I know.
I know.
The fact that we kept it a secret as long as we did was amazing, and we knew that the toys were going to be the way that it was going to leak. We knew it. We all said it. And Rob was carrying the torch internally at Mattel. It was like, guys, we got to keep this out. We got to keep the name out. We got to keep the look out, all of this stuff. And we were so close. We were 2 months away. And we were like, what? How? 2 months? It takes 2 years to make an animated series. And 2 months the leak came out?
Yeah, it's impressive. I think also what helps is there's no way. I mean, and maybe it's hard for you to imagine, but there was no way someone coming new into it thought that Keldor, even if Keldor appeared, would be substantial in such a way. You would just think it was when I put out the news for 5 minutes, hey, there's a Keldor figure coming to Masters of the Universe Revolution. I thought it was going to be a flashback, It didn't say King Keldor, and I never suspected he'd be a major part, and I never suspected he'd be played by William Shatner. I mean, that's the last thing I expected. So, once I saw the show, I'm like, oh, that's why it was such a big deal. That's why I needed to shut up and not spoil everyone's surprise.
I usually don't get in the weeds on things like that. It was the one time I was like, AJ, please, because we knew as soon as the name Keldor got out there, people were going to make the connection and be like, oh wait, is Shatner playing Keldor? And we were like, damn it, because we wanted that one moment at the end of episode 1 when you hear Shatner's voice and you're like, wait a minute, what? Because that's what we call the click next moment, right? That's the okay, well, I got to see what happens in the next episode. And then you see by the end of episode 2, you're like, oh shit, I get where this is going. Now it's cool. And then it all starts to make sense. But we just want the audience to go along that ride in the terms of the storytelling, as opposed to the marketing material or the toy line and stuff like that. So that the story is how it all unfolds, and it becomes, what we call surprise and delight moments. Those little things that an audience member gets engagement and joy from because of the way that they've experienced it. We try to orchestrate it like that. And it's, part of the job of content creation is taking your audience on a journey, right? It's the same thing for Revelation. For better or for worse, we try to take your audience on a ride of emotional investment for characters, ups and downs and pits and valleys. And I think that's what our job is. And sometimes you do it to great success, and sometimes the audience does not engage or does not want to go on that ride the way that we're trying to do it. And it's a push and pull, right? But I think that the surprise of Keldor being in the show, first of all, and then the way we sort of tied all the storytelling together from both what you think about Skeletor's origin and how we're delivering it to you now, and the plan was for the bigger idea of what Hordak was all about and how he does what he does beyond Revelation, beyond Revolution. That was sort of like how we wanted to present the story.
I think it worked for the most part, even though it got out on the toy side. And there's a lot of people who are Masters of the Universe fans that actually don't collect the toys,
Yeah, that's true.
As adults. And then I kept that once I knew how substantial that was, a spoiler, because I'm always looking to help, not hurt. I kept it away, I think, from the website for like a week, and then gave everyone a heads up that, beyond this date, I was going to do spoilers. And then in the comments section, there were a lot of thank yous.
Yeah.
So,
and as soon as it was like, you couldn't put the genie back in the bottle.
Right.
Like at this point, that was when you were like, look, everybody else is talking about it. And I was like, all right, just do what you do.
Yeah, but it was a week after Revolution came out. So
yeah,
at that point, I was giving everyone a heads up. You go on FORETERNIA.com, you're going to see a review for this figure now, so. Okay, next one, Thunder Punch He-Man. I don't really like
I'm just going to do this. Why is it so hard to make a good-looking He-Man figure?
You know what? If I had to guess, Teddy, the head sculpt was great on Faker.
Why did it look so good on Faker?
I think because the eyes were just painted white.
Yeah.
And he looks so eerie and so off in a way. It's so inhuman in a way. And no, I thought it was fabulous. And I guess they saw that response and said, oh, this is great, because I was so excited. This was the first Faker that actually wasn't a reproduction head of He-Man. He had his own head sculpt. And I was like, this.
And he had the magenta armor, which I have been waiting for so long. In fact, I had a custom magenta armor made for my classics figure for the Super 7 when they did like Ultimate Faker with all the different heads. Because I was so hoping that that's what Super 7 was going to do, was give me the magenta armor. Because I love that 8-back look. I love it. And I wanted that that look. It actually wasn't 8-back. It was after that, but it was, you know what I meant, that cross-bell look.
Yeah. Oh, and I love the fact that his robot was actually
sculpted in. It was so good
versus a sticker. Oh, so I guess Mattel saw that excitement and went the other route, and it's been a big mistake because the head is going to appear again in this list.
I know. I just got a shipping notice for my flying fists.
I got them already.
You got flying fists already?
Yeah.
I saw you got Manny faces. I saw your review on Manny faces already. I'm like. Oh,
can you?
Yeah. Oh, that's Thunder Punch.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Flying fists. I got flying fists somewhere. Jeez, I need a diagram. Oh, here we go.
You need a Dewey Decimal System. Oh. The design of that outfit is so good. I wish his armor was back metal, but I think everything else on that, it looks great. I just don't love the head. I'll get a better head.
Yeah, it needs a better head. All right, so where were we? So Emperor Hordak from Revolution.
I love him. I wish he came with an alternate head sculpt. I wish he came with a smiling head. That's a big bummer of mine. But fortunately, the maker community giveth. I love it. And then there's a bunch of folks online who've done the actual throne in 3D printing, and I love 3D printing. So I printed up the throne in 3D, and they actually went so far as to do the entire throne room into 3D print. And I'm like, okay. I don't know where I'm going to put that, but eventually I will print out his entire throne room. And what I really, really, really want, and I told Terry Higuchi this over at Mattel. I was like, can we redo Motherboard in translucent red, please? I really want a Motherboard hologram to be on the sort of, the bridge of Hordak's ship.
And you could even reduce her in size, right? Didn't she?
Sure, why not? Yeah. I think totally. That was a big point of conversation that we had about how big Motherboard should be, and should we keep her sort of a giant? Should we make her a little smaller? And I love where she landed. So
I love Hordak. I love his eyes. My only thing, and I'm such I'm such a knucklehead, but I scrutinize everything. I just wish he was a little wider in the face.
Yeah, he's
because the animation model was a
little gaunt. Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, he's perfect.
I hope we get powered up Hordak at some point too, because I love that.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
And I want like a full on deluxe with like the rocket bottom and the arm cannon and all of that stuff. I love what those guys did over there in the design team.
All right, so the next one would be Leech, Princess of Power.
Everybody gave this figure so much, crap for being so tiny. But man, look how good he is.
I know.
I love this figure.
He was actually tiny in Princess of Power in the Filmation cartoon. I mean, he wasn't taller than She-Ra.
Yeah.
I think he was on the shorter side. The crap I've seen, Teddy, is the color. Because he was more of like a dark teal instead of like this kind of like slime green, which I totally understand that, but I gotta tell you, I still love it. I love the look of this figure. I think he's so cool. I know. And the suction, the little, I forget what they're called, but this is normal in aquatic life to have these little teeth on the suction cups.
Ugh. So
even on the feet, they didn't have to go the extra mile.
No, they didn't.
No, but they did. Okay. So next one would be Masterverse Cyclone.
Oh, I don't have mine up here, do I? No, I don't.
I love this one, Teddy. I think it's brilliant.
I love him too. I think, what did Coco Chanel say? Before you leave the house, take one thing off. I think that it's like total kitchen sink all over him. And I think what I would have loved is maybe some interchangeable plates so that you could do like the original one that was kind of like a hexagon shape.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe that one, just plug it in a little differently. But he's pretty. I don't know.
I love that you can, somewhat simulate the vintage style in the back with the shield, both of the I guess the flames. And I love the fact that the flames can also go on the arms.
I like that. I love, because you can do like a really cool pose with him like that.
Punching and it's just, it's a brilliant figure. I
forgot.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
I forgot he came out.
I know, that's what I mean. There's so many. And so the next one, this one you didn't forget. Snout Spout, new Eternia Snout Spout.
Oh
my Lord, Teddy.
That figure's a masterpiece. That is an absolute I have no notes. I love that figure so much. I think it's incredible. I mean, he's massive. Maybe he could have been a little smaller, but other than that, I think he is just incredible.
I love a massive. I just love having a firefighter in Eternia. How many figure lines, have someone other than a fighter, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a chef. And I realize he fights too, and we saw him in Revolution fighting, but I just love having a character that his primary position is other than warrior.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Skeletor and Bone Throne, new Eternia.
I like it. I like it.
We were talking about putting stuff in the freezer, right? And or hot water and molding plastic and putting in the freezer. I did that with Skeletor because I had a problem with his face. I thought his skull looked a little too much primate and not and not human enough.
I think I did the same thing. I think after I saw your video, I think I did that.
Okay. Yeah, I had to push it in some, and it helped. It didn't fix it completely, but it helps.
Yeah. And I think I also did a little bit more wash on his face because I thought it just needed a little bit more definition.
Yeah.
Actually, I do love that they gave us some lighting effects on this.
And it changes colors.
They're so good. I love
them. And it didn't need to flicker.
Yeah.
I just don't know why he has the staff of Ka.
I don't know.
Yeah. And you know why I was so excited also, Teddy, is this was the first time, other than Battle Cat, if you consider that a vehicle, that we got a vehicle or an accessory in Masterverse.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. We've yet to have a Castle Grayskull. This is the first line without a Castle Grayskull.
I know. I think it's only a matter of time, my friend. I really do.
I hope so.
And I'm of two minds of this. One, I hope that they take some lessons from what I think went wrong with the classics. I know that's like heresy to say that there's anything wrong with classics Castle Grayskull.
To some people it is, yeah.
I think that there is I think that the sculpt is magnificent. The paintwork is magnificent. I take nothing away from the Four Horsemen. I think there's a lot of challenges within Castle Grayskull. My biggest problem is the modularity, that everything, once it's in, and you can't do anything with it. The fact that that banner is like locked in there, I can't take that out. The fact that the shield thing is locked in there, I can't take that out. The fact that the dungeon's in there, I can't take that out. Like all of those things, it's just bad engineering, is what I think. And I think it's done for the weird reasons too. It's like you're giving this to collectors who will want to make this their own anyway, and yet you locked everything in there. So I'm hopeful that if there is a Masterverse Grayskull, they embrace the modularity of it and give us all sorts of accessories and things like that we can make it our own.
Yeah, no, that's well said. Yeah, when people always like hold the purity of the classics and say they never did anything wrong, I always point to New Venture Skeletor, because if you look at New Venture Skeletor, that guy was ripped.
Can I just tell you, I was waiting for that figure. I love that design so much. I love it. And we can talk about that when we get to Revolution Skeletor. I love New Adventure Skeletor design. I love it. And I hate that figure so much. He is so bulky. You can't take the cape off. Like, it just, honestly, there's so many things wrong with that figure.
Did you like the Masterverse one? New Venture Skeletor?
I like it. I don't love it, but there are improvements on the classics version.
I thought it looked just like the mini comics.
It does. Hordak MX also has a really cool cartoon style head that I want for that to do the big white eyes. Yeah,
the big white eyes. You're
cool.
talking the cartoon then with the white eyes. Yeah. So this is more mini comic New Adventure Skeletor. So okay. I don't think we're getting to Revolution Skeletor. I think that was actually that was 2023. That was
was that last year? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, that came out prior to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that came out in people's hands. So I mean, feel free to talk about it if you want to.
We just, when we talked about what the evolution of Skeletor was into this season, my reference points were Laser Light and New Adventures, and I was like, we gotta bring all of that sort of circuitry and all that stuff in there. And I think it was one of the designers at Powerhouse who had the brilliant idea of merging the arm with the Havoc staff, which I loved. And I was like, oh, we can make that the laser arm. And there's one moment in Revolution where it does do the full red laser light on there. So we did get to incorporate that, but we had a lot of challenges, and you can see in the new Revolution art book, there's so many iterations of this version of Skeletor. We tried so many different things because I was coming at it from a place of, I wanted to look like Laser Light Skeletor. That's where I was coming from. Rob was very sort of in the middle, and I think the Powerhouse team was trying to do something much more in tune with what we had established with the motherboard sort of overlay of what those figures would do. And I think we were trying to find something in the middle that gave us enough of Laser Light Skeletor while still doing the motherboard Technovirus and coming somewhere in the middle.
Oh, I love the design. I love the final design, but I didn't love the figure. I had a problem with that face sculpt because it felt like it protruded too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So again, many people complain, even though I love the Revelation He-Man, and I do love the 40th anniversary one too. A lot of people complain. It's like, they get all these figures beautifully right, but they struggle with Skeletors and He-Mans, you know, which is so odd. It's so odd.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Movie Beastman.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Can I just tell you, I've waited 40 years for that. I've waited a long time for this. Like, that was the fact that I have my, you know, Curious Quartet finished. Like, that is, it makes me so happy. Now, bring on Chesterfield Tila, bring on John Cypher Duncan, like, bring on Courtney Cox and Robert Duncan McNeil. Like,
yeah. You know, I think we're getting Blade next, which people who have classics, you know, already have it, you know, per se, you know, we don't feel that whole, like, when the Evil Lynn was announced, I was like, finally.
Yeah, I mean, she's just, that was just like, you know, I think I wanted Evil Lynn more than I wanted anybody else. But now now that I had Evil Lynn, I was like, oh, they got to bring Beastman out.
And come on, Teddy Pig Boy. Come on, don't forget Pig Boy.
Well, okay, so I had initially, when what's his name, Josh was running the Motu team way back, I said, I won't pick up a second season of Revelation unless you give me a Pig Boy action figure.
And
no, well, clearly we did, but you never know.
I would love that. I saw a little too late. I forgot who made it. This one.
Joe Amaro.
Oh, you have it? Oh, you're gonna make me so jealous.
Yes, I am. Joe Amaro did it, and it is.
Oh, son of a gun!
It is so magnificent.
It is,
and he's articulated. He's fully articulated.
Is that from a Star Wars figure? Partially?
No, he fully sculpted it. It is fully sculpted. Look at that.
Amazing.
Yeah, Joe is a genius.
I check eBay for that once in a while, and I can't find it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's. I think anybody who has that is holding on to it for dear life. Yeah. I told him, I said, I think, well, now, because this is kind of like Revelation colors, I said, I think you need to do him a little closer to movie colors.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there'll be a market for that. Absolutely. So jealous. All right. Battle Armor Skeletor, new Eternia.
God, that's a figure.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Out. Oh, I love that figure. You know, my only complaint was it felt like his arms were bare, his forearms. Like, all decked out. Yeah, and he needed some sort of armor piece here. But
and I wish the helmet stayed on a little bit better. It's a little loose on my figure.
Yeah.
Nothing, a little, you know, tack couldn't fix. But man, that figure is just magnificent.
Yeah, I got another one in box up there. Some of them, you know, have really gone up in value. I expect that one to go up in value too. Like Web Store Masterverse is selling $120 right now.
I saw that. What?
Yeah.
I have an extra one in my garage. I was like, wait a minute. I think I have an extra Web Store. And people were like, oh my God, no, Web Store is expensive. I was like, really? Okay.
Yeah, Web Store Prince Adam Revelation. It's Revelation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Revolution. Prince Adam is very expensive. Stratos.
Were they the same wave? They were the same wave, right?
Prince Adam Revelation was with Sorceress Tila. That was the same wave, and then I forget the other two figures. I could probably pull up the checklist, but yeah, he is really, he's not as high as Web Store, but he's going around $60-$70. So it's nice to see him so valuable. And Masterverse Stratos is another one.
Really?
Around that price. Yeah. The new Eternia Stratos. And so it's interesting. And I think it's going to happen with Battle Armor Skeletor as well. I already see it creeping up. And so that's a good one to have. Speaking of Tila, Snake Sorceress Tila.
I mean, that's my figure of the year. Honestly, I had so much love in designing that character with the folks at Powerhouse and with Rob and with Nate. Like, honestly, Nate Barch, because when we were when we were discussing incorporating the snake goddess look into the show, I wasn't going to make a step without Nate. Like, I wanted Nate to love it as much as he could. So we had a bunch of different looks, and I was like saying, okay, like we would do like little zooms. I'm like, all right, what do you think? Like, she has this cool, like textured, you know, scaly jacket on. And he's like, oh, I love that. That's great. He's like, I don't like the barbaric thing, but I do love the snake skin thing. So we like, you know, it felt like people who truly love that look were the ones that were working on it, from everybody at Powerhouse, all the designers, and from Eddie at Powerhouse, and Nate and me and Rob. We were all like making sure that she came out so good. And then when the figure came out, I was just like, you guys knocked it out of the park. Yeah. The original prototype had the like hand painted face, and I was like, no, don't put that picture out there. They're not gonna. She's so much more beautiful than that. And sure enough, when people got her in their hands, they were like, her face is so beautiful. But that first photo had people a little worried.
Well, she's the only thing I think. I remember when I got that figure, I had a lot of issues, a lot of quality control issues. But
I saw that yours had a lot of paint scuffs and
and a crack on the side, you know, where the seam was. It was horrible. So I had to find another one. You know, it was the whole wave had a problem. Like and who's also on this list, Man of War. He had a problem too, because his helmet was like only glued to one side of his face. And it, you know, the glue came off, and so you can see it totally exposed. It was fine if you put the mask in, but if you were just trying to show off his face, you just saw the plastic and the glue residue inside. And so but I think that was just me. I don't think
it wasn't that case on mine. So I
think I just got an unlucky batch, and you know, that's fine. Merman New Eternia. Tell me, I love that one. That might be my favorite merman of all time.
The fact that they went that extra mile with the sort of the eyes, like that. I mean, they did it. They sort of did it with Web Store, having the red translucent eyes in there. Yeah. But then they upped their game with Merman by putting sort of like the pupils in there, so that when you tilt the head, it's like looking to the right and the left. It's like so cool.
It is so cool. And then Teddy, I put him on. You familiar with Storm? I don't know if you saw.
Am I familiar with Storm? Yes.
Okay.
I'm familiar with Storm. I was the only thing that I bought out from that damn movie line was the Storm thing, and he looks so good.
So have you put him on the Storm, Seahorse?
First thing I did.
yeah, I have him over there.
So good.
It looks amazing. It looks like
it was made for it.
It looks like it was made for it. $100 item. You put Aquaman on there, it doesn't look like it was made for it. But with the I don't know what you call those, neon, not neon.
Color shift.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. We got to move through this stuff. Horde Trooper, New Eternia, awesome.
I bought 4 of them.
I have 2 of them, and they look,
because I think the limit was 2 or 3. I think the limit was 3, and then I bought another one on the secondary market. I have one gripe with this figure, and it's the same gripe that I have with the classics Horde Trooper.
Okay,
the logo. That is the design of that logo, was to be a push button so that it could pop apart for the original toy.
Yeah, I remember.
We don't need to make it a circle. We should make it the classic Horde emblem. But here's the biggest problem with this one. You can take the emblem off, and they could have made it classic style or traditional Horde logo.
Yeah.
That's my one gripe, because otherwise this is a damn perfect figure.
Yeah, I can see your point.
Just to give me that classic Horde logo that snaps on there. And they should have done that with the classics version too, because they gave you so many modular parts for that And it's like, just give me the classic toy one if I wanted to make it look like the toy, which I never wanted to do, or make it look like the classic Horde logo.
Yeah. No, that would have been great. I have a similar thing with I have the statue, Tweeterhead, He-Man, and Battlecat classic statue, and they had the same thing with his power harness. You were able to use the classic Iron Cross, or with a magnet, separate it and put the H there. So
right?
yeah, that would have worked. Yeah,
I did this with the PowerCon exclusive He-Man Slime Pit He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Came with the classic a classic thing, and here's the worst part. Mattel actually had these interchangeable Horde emblems from the drivers, the monogram driver packs, because you could put their logos on there, or make them Horde affiliated ones. So they could have easily just done this for the Horde troopers. They had them already. That's the part that was, but I did that for this one because in the even though in the mini comic it was the classic Iron Cross design for it, in later iterations it morphed into the Horde bat emblem. So I did that for that one.
See, that's great. I don't trust my customized skills. I did one. I think I showed you, Teddy. I did Faker, where his arms, Revelation Faker, where his arms were exploded.
Oh yeah, that was good. That looked good.
Yeah, I hand painted the freaking wires, those little black stripes, the coils, but
good.
But otherwise, I don't trust myself. Okay, moving on. Oh, jeez, new Eternia, Evil Lynn.
She's already here. She's been waiting the whole time. Look at that. That is
the best Evil Lynn 6-inch, 7-inch figure.
Look at this incredible figure. I'm obsessed.
I am too. I love her. And I thought she has the face of Sophia Loren.
Yeah.
You see it? I mean, immediately, and I threw that in my review. I was like, this is Sophia
Loren. Looks like Sophia Loren.
Yeah. And then some people put in the comments, I wouldn't doubt that, they modeled it after her, and she's gorgeous. Best Evil Lynn figure to date. Sorry, Classics, but this one.
No, I mean, head and shoulders. Classics Evil Lynn, they did too, and I think they missed the boat a little bit on both of them.
Yeah.
I like them, but I don't love them.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically the 2000X version. They should have given us a proper 2000X Evil Lynn.
Yeah, I agree.
Any dumb excuse that the previous brand manager of that line gave us for why they just did a stupid blue or purple and gray repaint of that doesn't hold up for me. Like, they should have just given us a classic 2000X Evil Lynn.
I agree. All right, Flying Fists He-Man, which we already talked about.
I don't have.
You wanted to refer to this Fisto. New
Oh yeah, I don't love the whole metallic arm thing. Yeah. I mean, his name is Fisto, not Armo. So I think that was my one thing. I was like, oh man, and like, I'm fine if they wanted to do something new and innovative with him. Then give me an arm that I could take off and put back on. That's like a regular, normal, arm, like flesh arm. So that was my one gripe with it. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty beautiful figure. All the design choices are really interesting.
Yeah, I love the beard with the two tones, the gray. It looks good. All right, and other than some people are starting to get Skelcon, I don't have that yet.
You mean these?
Oh, you got them? Oh, you look at that! Oh, they look great.
Yeah, these are like incredible figures. The fact that the jaw moves so good. Yeah, all the weapons are great. The detailing is so good. Can you really see? Yeah, look at that beautiful color shifting. It's like black with this metallic purple dry brushing on it. It's just so magnificent. And look at the face on that.
I know. And I'm so excited that the tongue I could see, because at Comic-Con you could see the tongue and you could see all the carvings in the tongue, and it was fantastic. And then in the promo pictures, they had the tongue painted black. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to see the details. And
It's really good. It's like a purple with a black wash. It's really good. Yeah, I literally just happened to be on my cell phone checking my emails, and I saw a thing from Entertainment Earth that said Skelcon's in stock, and I just bought 4 of them. I was just like,
yeah. Hey, army builders, man. Love them, huh?
I have 1 sealed, and then I was like, all right, well, then I'll just keep 3 open.
Yeah. All right, we got to move through this fast here. All right, you know what? We're gonna move on to the cartoon collection, but I'll just read all of them first, and if we just want to throw 1 or 2 up in the air.
That sounds good.
Okay. Cartoon collection. The ones that shipped this year was Stratos, Merman, Evelyn, Web Store, Prince Adam and Cringer, The Collector Airship, San Diego Comic-Con Too Bad, Spikor, Clawful, She-Ra, Mantana, Ram Man, and what's shipping now is Manny Faces, Hordak, and Triclops. So, woo! You know, that Cringer,
I mean, that's up there too, man.
I adore this Cringer, man.
And his scale works really well for the Club Grayskull figures.
He
like
does.
It works really well. It looks so good with that Prince Adam.
He does. And
you know who else looks really good with that?
What?
Ram Man. Because he was short on the original TV show.
Yeah, he was.
So putting this animated Ram Man, putting this Ram Man next to He-Man, like they kind of work.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Great.
Yeah, I was excited about that, you know?
Yeah, and just the sculpting. Look at that face. So good. I wish that the armor was more of a matte gray to, like He-Man's gray, but that's such a small little nitpick. The figure itself is like perfectly in scale with the classic Club Grayskull look.
I loved getting the Collector Airship, even though it was a little less detailed than I like to see. And of course, the scale is way off. Because if you watch the cartoon, that thing is huge,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's definitely fun. I wish the plastic wasn't just so, I guess, shiny. I wish there was maybe a little bit of an overspray on it. And I also bought these 2 things from Hebro to like enhance the inside. One of them is it's a yoke that actually comes back so that you can the person to sit there can actually hold on to it. And then the other is, I don't know if you can see that, it's like a view screen for Skeletor.
Oh yeah.
Where the some people were saying that that's where his Havoc staff goes, which yeah, sure, okay. But this actually has like a little view screen that clips right into there for it.
It's actually hard for him to sit when you put the Havoc staff there. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a nice. It just adds a little bit more detail inside there.
You know what's nice is the Club Grayskull, Skeletor and Beastman, and they can fit in there.
Yeah, they can. I was surprised about that.
I know. So yeah, that was great. And then being a Web Store fan, I was so excited because we never had a Club Grayskull Web Store.
I know.
And they did such a wonderful sculpting job with him. I mean, I just love him. I mean, that's more personal taste, but I just think they did.
He looks great. Yeah, I was always bummed that we never if there was one more wave of Club Grayskull figures that we would have gotten, I would have wanted Moss Man, I would have wanted Mechanic, I would have wanted Web Store, and I would have wanted Cobra Khan.
Oh yeah,
those are the 4 that I really wanted. And if I really had to push it, Whiplash. But like those are the 4 that I'm like, oh man, that would have been a great last wave.
Yeah. I hope they keep pushing with this because I know you and me we adore this classics cartoon. So I'm a little upset. I love She-Ra. I'm a little upset with her size in relation to He-Man.
I mean, she's a little too tiny. But I saw somebody else take the lower legs from the rooted hair version of the Princess Power figure that they did for Origins, and swap the lower legs out with the new animated She-Ra, and she's a little taller, and there isn't that wide gap between the boot and the leg.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
My friend Julian did that. He showed me, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do that."
Oh, all right.
I only have one She-Ra right now. When I get a second one, I'll do that.
Yeah. No, I'm going to try that too. Okay. And then they announced a bunch of other stuff: Faker, Leech, Catra, Buzz-Off, Frosta, Visible Skeletor, and Voltac, which I guess will be Mattel Creations. And one frustrating thing is freaking Evelyn without the cape. So annoyed by that.
I don't understand. I don't understand what happened.
I don't either. I don't either. And Catra got a cape.
Is they had budget cuts and they had to reduce the cost. That's the only thing I could think of.
I don't know. If you look at Mantenna, if you look at Manny Faces, I don't know.
But neither of them came with an accessory.
True. It does seem that like they push against that.
And I think when you look at the wave, I think those two figures had such complex engineering. And by the way, I think beautifully executed complex engineering.
Yeah.
Beautiful paint jobs. Excellent work on both of those figures. I think that they had to make some kind of accommodation there. And I think, and if my instincts are right, and I don't know anything, I don't have any insight, I think it would have been a plastic cape and not a soft goods cape. And I think that's what happened.
Okay. Yeah. All right, off to Origins Classic Vintage. I'll just read through the list again of what shipped this year. It was the Eternia playset in February. Origins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was early this year. I know. It feels like forever.
For 2 years.
I know. Time is crazy, especially when it comes with this stuff, and it's so much is thrown at you. Eternia playset was in February. So was King Grayskull, the Origins King Grayskull version. Rockon, Lord Grasp, Terror, Cyclone, Necroconda, Reptilex, Skeletor, and Demogorgon, Horde Trooper Prime, Extendar, Night Stalker, He-Man and Vecna, Vipor, Demo Man, Geldor, and Modulok. People are getting now.
I don't have Modulok yet, and I don't have Necroconda yet. I have no Walmart that gets anything around me. So if it's a Walmart exclusive, I'm never going to get it. So when Big Bad Toy Store put theirs up, I pre-ordered it, but they still don't have theirs yet. So
Walmart.
Who knows when I'll get that guy?
Walmart's an issue. And Geldor, you know what's interesting about Geldor didn't ship out, but I was always thought,
mine came.
No, I mean, it didn't sell out. I'm sorry.
Oh, it didn't sell out. Oh, yeah. I'm like, no, I got my Geldor.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. I forget who was the creator of the mini comic, but the idea say again?
Was it Larry Houston?
African American?
Yeah, Larry Houston.
It was Larry Houston? Okay. So his idea was to introduce more characters of color.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Geldor was supposed to be he was modeled after Mr. T, right? Yeah. Except he had white hair, but I don't know. The figure itself, that one I don't have.
It was written by Michael Halpern and drawn by Larry Houston.
Okay. Oh, it was written by Michael Halpern?
Mm-hmm. But you know what? The classics version isn't truly like darker complexion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
In fact, I think that they may have used the exact same mold for the head. Okay. I had them right next to each other. I was like, I think this is the same figure. So,
oh, and I love Vipor.
Vipor's awesome. Like they went hard on that figure, and they didn't have to. I was like,
I know.
There's so many new parts on that figure,
and these chains, Teddy, are metal.
Awesome. I almost wish we got like a central tower looking figure, like a blue lion. Like,
yes, I once saw a custom Snake Mountain figure, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
kind of like a Castle Grayskull man, and the fact that his mouth's articulated and he used real chains. Yeah, he's wonderful. This figure, I love him.
Yeah, they should. I honestly think they should release Castle Grayskull Man in the Origins line, and then give us a central tower figure too, because I'm like, those are pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And I don't know if you collect Turtles of Grayskull at all, but
Bottom all.
Okay, I'll just read them off for the people who do. Slacker, Merman, Splinter Skull, Leatherwood, Two-Bop Steady, Hordak, Casey Jones, Skeletor, Michelangelo, April O'Neil, Stealth Ninja Leonardo, Hordak, Stealth Ninja He-Man, Mechaneck, Ratlore, Donatello, Raphael, Leonardo, and another Michelangelo. So,
best figures: Slacker, Merman, Two-Bop Steady, and Sorceress April.
That Merman was pretty,
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that was a really nice figure. Okay, and then in Mondo, Orko Tila, Trapjaw, mini comic variant, and the Scarecrow soft vinyl.
My only issue with the Orko Mondo is that his legs are in a pre-pose position, and I wish that you could pose them from the hip. Move the legs from the hip. Just to add a different a look to the way he, his robes flow. But other than that, I mean, that figure is, it's phenomenal.
Did you have any issues with Tila? I assume you got Tila.
I did have an issue with Tila. Her hand broke in the wrist. So I don't have a fist for her because I had to, the plug got stuck in there, and I used my little pin vise, and I pulled out the plastic so I can put other hands in there, but I don't have a fist for her. So
yeah. All right. I think that's about it for figures. Let's do the rest of this stuff. It's not much, but we should just mention media. Of course, in television, we got Masters of the Universe Revolution. Kicked off the new. I don't know if you heard of that.
It eluded me.
It kicked off the new year with an impressive bang. Won hearts everywhere and was brilliantly animated, amazingly acted. I mean, come on, Keith David and William Shatner, Mark Hamill, Lena Headey. Those names come up usually like when people are daydreaming and fan casting. They go like, "Who would you like to star in this role?" It never actually becomes a reality, and yours is a reality. It's a fan casting come true.
Honestly, it truly was from day one. Rob can attest. I'd been saying if we ever get to Hordak, it's Keith David. Like, it's Keith David. I'm just saying we're casting Keith David as Hordak. Like, there was nobody in my mind that could sound like Hordak the way that I envisioned Hordak. And I mean, that guy, those pipes.
So great. It was a pinch me moment, that whole thing. And then, and you did it to yourself, Teddy, by putting in that amazing, mind-blowing the Spara tease at the end of the series. By hell or high water, you have to figure out a way to finish the series. If not in a show, at least in a comic book or something like that. You got to. Before you retire, you got to do something, Teddy.
Look, I think, Rob said this too. Is like, we know the story. We know it. We know how we want to tell the third chapter of this story. It's just, it's more than just me, a kid at Netflix, and Rob, a kid at Mattel. Yeah. We are two small cogs in giant corporate machines. I know. Tons of initiatives that have to be, where all things have to align for those things to happen. But we know the story we want to tell. It's written down. We've got ideas. We know how we want it to wrap up. We just have to have the moments to do it. That's it.
I know. I just putting it out there. Oh, and then She-Ra live action series in television as well. We found out that wasn't dead, after learning Nicole Castle was tapped to executive produce and write a pilot and direct the pilot. No, not write the pilot. I think, to direct the pilot. And that was 2.5 years ago. Everything went dormant, leaving us like the project was dead. And then suddenly we hear this year that there's a new writer that's been hired. Heidi Schreck, I think. I don't know her credits list, but apparently the live action series is not dead over at Amazon. So
we shall see. The process for development, they don't call it development hell for nothing. It is tedious for all parties involved, for the talent that works slavishly trying to realize a vision, for the executives who are trying to service not just the creative needs but of the audience, but of the corporate needs. And it's so many things have to align for something to happen. I think that's the part that
that most people don't really understand is how many things have to go right for something to get made.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we'll get there in a second. Just on the movie, I mean, we realize as fans, but even when it feels like you're so close. All right, and then apparently, there's another Masters of the Universe animated series in development. Rob David announced it at San Diego Comic-Con, which was very exciting, and who knows what it is? This is me speculating. Maybe the series will be over at Amazon, and maybe it'll be tied to the new movie. I don't know. Either way, it's exciting that one's in development. We'll see if it comes to fruition. So he's quiet.
Yes, we will.
All right. So then the movie, it wouldn't be a new year, right, Teddy? Without movie news.
I mean, look, here's what I will say.
Yeah.
It's the closest I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
It's the closest I've ever seen it. And I have to believe, like, look, it was developed at Netflix for a couple of years after it fell out of Sony.
With the Nee brothers and Kyle Allen. A
lot of struggles getting the creative where it needed to be. I think when we realized how much the movie was going to be versus what the creative felt was where the creative team felt where it was, I think it was the movie team decided to pass on it. And I think at Amazon, they're making a really large play for these kinds of nostalgic driven properties. And I think that they rolled up their sleeves in a way that they were gung-ho for. And I think after the success of Barbie, it gave them a little bit more, more wind in their sails. Mm-hmm. So I think so far the casting has been pretty great. I am a longtime fan of Miss Alison Brie, having been the executive on Glow. I speak nothing but love about her. I think she is incredible. I think Nicholas is a star. I think he is, I think he's going to be a great He-Man. And
he's got that square jaw too.
I mean, he's a star, that guy. And there's nothing, like, he just hasn't had the role yet. Mm-hmm. But that guy is a star. And Camille is fantastic too. Like, and she's already dyed her hair, and like, so it is the closest I've ever seen it. I have no idea where the script is since where I've seen it at Netflix to where it is now. I don't know what work has been done. It sounds like there's new writers on board, so I don't know how much the take is different and where it's living. But I will say it is the closest it's ever been, and I hope it's great. As a fan, I hope it's great.
Oh, me too. And you know what? I got excited with the casting of Idris Elba.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, again, star. Like, we should all be so freaking lucky to have Idris Elba in our shows.
He elevated the cast, but not the cast is fantastic, but he brings so much gravitas.
Exactly.
If I thought he wanted to be in my movie, I'd be like, "What role do you want?" So excited that he's there, and then. And it looked like we have Barry Gower over at doing FX, and he does like zombie stuff. I think he did Walking Dead, and he did like the Ice King or whatever that name was. He did Vecna in Stranger Things. He does all these practical effects, and it's amazing. And I'm so excited seeing his work, like what kind of man would look like, and Merman, and he looks fantastic. And I'm just wondering what our Skeletor will be. We've had Jared Leto rumored, Sacha Baron Cohen rumored. We'll see.
We shall see. That's gonna be the one.
Yep. All right, and that's it for movies. And then the comics. In regards to comics, we had Masters of the Universe: Forge of Destiny trade paperback written by Tim Seeley with Eddie Nunez on art duties, which was so cool to have Eddie on art because it literally looked like the animation models from the series. That was great. And then Masters of the Universe Revolution, the prequel series 1 through 4, established the history of Keldor and Hordak, which had no He-Man, practically no action, yet it was absolutely brilliant.
It was one of the most fun things that I've ever been a part of, is being able to actually work on a comic and tell a story like that, because I'd never worked in comics before, and it is a different process, even though it's largely still told in dialogue and stage direction. It is still a different process in terms of scripting, and thankfully we had somebody like both Rob and Tim who are experts in telling stories in comics. So it's funny because there was I had shot a funny video when there was this anniversary for the Masters of the Universe movie they did at the Alamo Draft House here in Los Angeles, and they had a bunch of people in town for that. Dolph Lundgren was there for that, and Pixel Dan was there, and Tim was there, and we're all hanging out, and they had this beautiful sort of museum of all these different pieces of Masters of the Universe legend, since the beginning, since '82, and all the original designs and stuff like that. And in this case, you had Pixel Dan's book, and you had Tim's comics, and I was like, hey, look, hey Dan, look, there's your book. Hey Tim, look, there's your book. Hey there, oh, I don't have a book.
Well, now hopefully you will. I'm hoping they do an omnibus of all the Revolution continuity comics together. That would be cool.
I would like that too.
Yeah.
Not quite yet though. Just not quite yet.
All right, and then that's it for. And Turtles of Grayskull just started. So, and that's it for comics, and other brief mentions. Snake Lair playset was announced, polled, and then postponed. Fans were not too pleased with that one, it seemed. I
liked it. I get all the complaints, by the way. I'm not saying anybody's thoughts are wrong. Every complaint was 100% valid. I guess I'm just easy to please when it comes to that stuff. I looked at it, I was like, you know what, I could, and maybe this is part of the complaint, was that it felt generic, but I'm like, I could use that for Cobra Island, I could use that for Dungeons and Dragons, I could use that for 1,000 different toy lines, Mythic Legions. It could have been for anything, and I liked that versatility in it. But I do get that it is a legitimate gripe that it didn't quite feel up to par for Motu. I also think that people were like, why is it so huge? It's bigger than Eternia. What are you doing? This should be a smaller playset. This should be no bigger than Grayskull. And I get that criticism too. But I liked all the things. I liked the little Iron Maiden. I liked the throne room. I liked all the little things that they did. I liked the hatchery with all the little eggs, the snake eggs, and oh my God, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. But I get that there's a lot of stuff in there, and maybe without the nostalgia factor, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, and I get it didn't look like the concept art, to what people voted on. It didn't even come close, So
yeah, my thought
track will probably look like a tag track, right? And the other ones, Doom Tower, would probably look like Doom Tower. But
I actually thought that they kind of improved on some things and not on other things. But I agree that there was a departure. But I didn't have an affinity for the original concept art anyway. It was more for the concept, not so much the concept art. I wanted a snake layer. That's what I wanted. And how they managed to engineer it and design it, I'm going to go with that. The one that they actually showed, it was only one image anyway. So I'm like, well, I don't really have this passion for this particular look. But I do understand that you sent your money for something. You put your money where your mouth is, and that wasn't what they gave you. I think that in and of itself feels like a gripe. No, you asked me to put my vote towards something, and then you change that. That feels, I get that people were against that.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, brushing through, we got a Masters of the Universe 1987 Blu-ray from Umbrella Entertainment, which was great.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. I have it too. I love it. We got to see unproduced designs by Alan Taylor that he did in 1986 for a Karg and Skeletor Trooper figure. That was great. I think Axel.
Man, I wish we got those.
Oh, me too. Oh. Roy Juarez over at Mattel, he won a packaging design award for Motherboard.
Because Roy's a damn genius. I got to tell you, this year's Masterverse packaging is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The design of it, the fact that it is, minimal plastic in the packaging, but yet at the same time you still see the figure, and the artwork is magnificent. You got that beautiful Simon Eckhart artwork on there. You've got, it just looks phenomenal. They knocked it out of the park.
It's so much better. I mean, no disrespect to Roy's earlier work, and I think Eamon O'Donoghue worked on those original packages.
Eamon did all the movie figures, and which look gorgeous.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of prints of Eamon's stuff because they're magnificent.
Yep. A little bit of human news, and I don't want to gloss over this. On a human front, we got some very good news and some very sad news. The good news is, after a very long battle with cancer, Dolph Lundgren, our real life He-Man, announced to the world that, after one more surgery, he would be cancer free. And then that is countered, I guess, with the sad news that our beloved Tony Todd, our Scareglow, passed away just shy of his 70th birthday. And our deepest heartfelt condolences go to his family and loved ones.
That was a shock. I didn't know that he was sick, and apparently he'd been sick for a while. And Tony was also one that from jump, I was like, Scareglow is Tony Todd. And you could not have met a kinder, sweeter, gentle man. He was awesome.
All right. And then finally, looking forward, back to the trivial stuff to close it out. In regards to Masters of the Universe, we have a brand new year of possibilities, Teddy. Do you have any wants or wishes in regards to figures, shows?
Yeah, I think for the cartoon collection, I hope we at least get the big, trinity of She-Ra figures. I want Bo and Glimmer, and I really want the royal family. So I hope we get Marlena and Randor and Adora. Those are sort of my number one cartoon collection ones. Origins, I hope we finish the line. I hope we get, Stondar. I hope we get, some of the other figures that we haven't quite gotten yet. We haven't gotten Mosquito. Oh, no, we got Mosquito. We haven't gotten Dragstore yet. So like some of those, just finishing everybody up. And then in terms of Masterverse, there's only a few like of the Revolution characters. I would love to get a Revolution Rio Blast. My Spidey sense is telling me we'll get a new Eternia Rio Blast before we get a Revolution Rio Blast. But I'd be happy either way. I would love to get that sort of deluxe Hordak. And then I really want to get final looks for He-Man, Teela, and Skeletor.
Yes. Yeah, the Tri-Sorceress. And is there a name for final He-Man?
Rob and I have names internally that we call them,
Okay.
but I don't know if that's what's going to go on packaging.
All right. Nothing goes on packaging. It's so frustrating. Snake Sorceress was just Sorceress Teela. We're going to have like 4 Sorceress Teelas.
Well, we wanted to come up with something for those looks that like Thunder Punch or Dragon Blaster, like that you have a great name for that becomes so iconic. And, but at the same time, you want them to sort of articulate what they are. Like, like He-Man has found, Skeletor says you found the nexus between magic and technology. And it's like, oh, is this Nexus He-Man or Apex He-Man? This is like the top. It doesn't get better than this. So is it Nexus Skeletor and Apex He-Man? Like those kinds of, like there's like we refer to them as those things, but like, they're not official.
Yeah.
But Tri-Sorceress Teela, that we did use that in the show.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the one that's going to stick on the packaging.
So I agree with everything you said. I just hope they go deep with the cartoon collection. I want from Nate Barsh, Beast Woman, his concept art to finally be realized. Yeah.
Oh, those would be freaking cool.
Yeah, they keep teasing it. I would love that in Masterverse and in Origins.
Oh, you know what I want in Masterverse? I want the Evelyn conjured skeleton warriors.
That would be amazing.
Those I want, because I have a couple customs that are made mostly of mythic.
made mostly of Mythic Legions, and they came out really, really good. But I really want them for Masterverse, and I feel like if the Skelcons do really well, they'll do another army builder.
I would also love a Revolution Stondar. I just love that look, and I'm with you, Phil.
With triple face with.
Before and I love Mattel to finish the vintage line. There's some fans out there that feel like they're being dragged out just to be dragged out. They still haven't gotten their Too Bad cartoon collection. Too Bad came, but not the vintage Too Bad. So hopefully they'll finish the line. I
mean, now that they have that torso, I think that we'll get them. It's inevitable.
Okay. Hope we see something towards a Revolution continuation in next year, Teddy. And I really hope there's a Secret of the Sword 40th anniversary screening. Oh, please.
Is it really 40 years next year?
Yeah. Next year, next March, I think. And yeah, I know. Luckily, we haven't aged, Teddy, but yeah. Oh, don't get me depressed. So 40 years.
That's impossible. I'm not even 40 yet, but I remember seeing in the theater. So I don't know what you're talking about, AJ.
Time travel, my friends. Only a few of us have a time machine. But I can't wait to see it in theaters again now. Would be so wonderful. And I just really hope one of those establishments picks it up and puts it in theaters.
They did it not too long ago. Fathom Events did a Secret of the Sword in theaters, and it was fun. They did Transformers the movie. They do them every now and then, and it was just so fun to go to the movies on a Saturday morning and go.
Just last year, they did Transformers the animated series. It was 40 years, so they put like 4 or 5 episodes together and in theaters. Fun. Yeah, so I'm hoping they go on and do that for Secret of the Sword. It'd be wonderful. So I think we wrapped the entire year, Teddy. I'm sorry this ran long. Do you have anything else you want to bring up or address before we wrap this up?
I don't think so.
Okay. Teddy, as always, a pleasure, my friend.
So fun talking about stuff that we love.
Yeah, it is so fun. And everyone listening or watching, I want you to be sure to follow Teddy on Instagram at AnimateTed. One word. He was doing toy photography before it was cool, and doing it better too.
I don't know about that. I look back at some of those old things that I was doing. I was like, oh God, I was not good. But it was, it started, do you know what it started with? It was Monster High. I had gotten a Monster High doll and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And I was just like they posed really well and they had such a cool look. And I started just taking photos of Monster High dolls. And then I just, a friend of mine at work, she was like, you should take pictures of all your toys. And I was like, oh, and then it became like storytelling. And then as soon as that clicked, I was like, oh, this is fun. And it's just great to build such a community. I mean, there's so many incredible toy photographers out there. And I'm just like, oh man, that's so good. And then we ping each other. It's like, hey, how did you get that lighting look? And oh wow, where did you get that accessory piece? And wait a minute, is that a small fog machine? Where did you get that? Like, and you just build a great community of people who
there are brilliant artists out there. There are some people just snap a picture, kind of like me. My toy photography is, no thought to lighting, no thought to special effects and set and backdrops, but you are in that master class. You might have not been at the beginning. I don't know. I would have to recheck that out, but you certainly are now. And, I always look forward to your posts, and especially when you rate the figures at the end of the year. That's always exciting. So, and there's always usually something Motu in there. Usually.
Yeah, there'll be a couple Motus this year.
So. Yeah. So, all right. So we'd like to thank this wonderful community out there for listening to this podcast. And if you enjoyed this show, please show us your support by liking and subscribing to our streams. You can also drop us a line too by sending us an email to foreternia@gmail.com. We do love the feedback. And as always, please visit us at FORETERNIA.com for all the latest updates and news, as well as links to our social media pages that can help you stay up to date with all of our Masters of the Universe content. So that's it. Want to thank you all for listening, and let the power return. We'll see you next time. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.